Hi, welcome to another exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Crayton Show. Today, we're going to go into the beast mindset of what it's like to be a marathon runner. Not just a runner, but the goals that it takes to actually be a marathon runner. And more importantly, this young lady right here, she has some goals that most people might say there's no way this is going to happen. But after talking with her, that beast mindset is definitely there. She's already started this journey. And without further ado, I'd like to welcome to the show. I'm going to pronounce her name right, Megan Gremillion. Did I get it right?
You did. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be with you today.
Look, your resume is like that of an NFL draft or NBA draft. Marathons out the wazoo. But before we get into that, tell the viewers a little bit about who you are before we take them down this journey of state to state, country to country, and what you're trying to accomplish.
Fantastic. So, about 20 years ago, when my dad turned 40, he decided to run a marathon. We were not the most active sport playing family whatsoever. In fact, all throughout school, I wouldn't even walk the mile in gym class. I would sit in the bleachers and take the zero, literally lowering my GPA every semester because I was not going to go out there and walk a mile, much less run it.
You know what,
But
Megan? That doesn't sound good for me because you know I'm a former school teacher. You know what my classes were? Physical education and history. But you would rather take a zero.
you love me, gym class, absolutely not. She hated me. I'm very uncoordinated. I literally trip over my own feet every single day. Okay.
Okay.
But my dad's dedication to his training and going out there every single day, it really inspired not just myself, but my entire family. And even after he ran the Austin Marathon, I still didn't think that I could do that. But my mom and my sister both decided, well, I'm going to run a marathon too.
Mhm.
I can't be left out. I want to run a marathon.
Right.
And so over time, we all eventually started running, started accomplishing all of these goals that we were setting. Even my sister's children, they all run to this day. Like it all started with just this one person and it inspired all of us. And that's really what we've continued to try to do in getting our story out and accomplishing our goals.
Let's go back a minute. You lost your father at the tender age of 40. My condolences
He,
for that.
I'm sorry,
I said
he
you
didn't pass.
he didn't pass.
No, he passed just a couple of years ago
Okay, what was he was 40 years old, right?
when he ran the marathon. He passed away at 59 years old.
At
So he
59.
continued to inspire.
Right.
He started having some injuries and things like that that kept him from running, but he was always our biggest fan. After every single race, he was the first person to call me, want to know every single detail about the races that I was running and things that I was doing. And so when
So
he did get sick and passed away, it was very difficult for all of us, just not just as my father, who I was very close to, but my biggest supporter.
let's go back a minute. Your dad started at 40 years old. You would rather take a zero in class. Was your dad a former athlete? What was your dad like before 40 years old? Was he wasn't running before he was 40, but was he, sports inclined? Did he what even got him into the running? Um, what gave him the running bug to begin with?
Well, he was in school. He was like star athlete, football player. I mean, I even think he was like all state quarterback when he was in school. But him and my mom got married early in life, kids in their early 20s. And so his personal life and his own personal goals kind of took a step back as he was encouraging us and doing for us all the time. Once we got older in age, then he could rededicate himself to his own goals and what he wanted to accomplish. And he set that goal of a marathon.
Just out of the blue, had he ever run a marathon that you know
No,
of?
No, just got this idea one day and he dedicated himself to it. We're
What
kind of
was
like that.
what was it about your father that what was one thing that he did that made you say to yourself, now I know you saw your other family members getting involved, but you're the person that would take a zero. What was it that really motivated you to get up? I don't see somebody that would take a zero and decide all of a sudden they want to go out and tackle running. I'm a former runner. I know the dedication that it takes to run. I've been running state champion, Olympic candidate in 1984. I mean, my list of running achievements go way back. And I know the dedication that it takes to get up in the morning and run before the stars come, before the sun comes up and so forth. What was the one thing that made you get up and said, I'm going to do it, but outside of your family?
And it really was outside my family. My family's all in Texas and Louisiana, and I'm up in New Jersey. So this really was a solo sport in every way. I didn't have running partners or anything like that. But what made me really dedicate myself to it and decide to do it was seeing that sense of pride that he felt after his accomplishment. And at that time in my life, I was going through difficult marriage, difficult divorce that came later, but I needed that sense of accomplishment that I committed to this and I'm going to see it through. Even if other things in my life are kind of falling apart, this is something that I can control and accomplish on my own.
When you was going through the difficult moments of your life, um, the divorce, the marriage, were you and your father close enough that you shared this with him, and maybe did he suggest maybe you should try running or anything, or any family member for that matter?
I actually did not discuss any of what was going on in my personal life and with my marriage with anyone, just out of respect
Mm,
for my partner at that time and our personal situation.
right.
Um, I actually didn't share it with them until I decided that it was time for the divorce and to walk away. So it really was all something that I was going through alone,
Mhm.
and my outlet and my way of processing, which you have a lot of time in your own head when you're out there running to think
Mhm.
about things and make those decisions, and running actually healed me in a lot of ways
Mhm.
through that. And then also after my father passed away, and this journey now that I'm doing a half marathon in every state and with the time frame of 50 consecutive months, I'm doing it with my mother. And I mean, that has brought us
How did
unnaturally
how
close.
did you get your mom to volunteer to go on a journey of all these marathons within a certain amount of time? Like, you tell everybody that secret. How did you do that?
Well, I had made this decision to do this on my own after my husband and I had separated. The divorce was finalized. So this was towards the end of 2019. I wanted to dedicate a whole year of training to make sure that I would be healthy. Then I could do this every single month for over 4 years, and not have to miss any because of injuries or things like that. I wanted to be in my absolute best shape.
Mhm.
So I was going to dedicate all of 2020 and start in 2021.
Mhm.
That didn't happen because of COVID.
Right.
Not enough was happening. There was so much still uncertainty, but I still had never told a single person about this goal because I wasn't ready for that type of accountability. 2021, I was like, that's fine. I'll just continue training and start in 2022.
Mhm.
I'm a few months into training, and that's when my father was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer.
Wow.
That derailed training. Like, that was the least important thing. It was being there for my family, working as much as I could in order to take that time to go spend time with my family. And then he after his diagnosis, unfortunately passed away just a few months later. And my mom was going through a difficult time, obviously. And I felt like she needed something to look forward to. And so I told her of my plans and I told her I was going to start 2022. No. Yeah. And told her, come with me. You don't have to run if you don't want to. You don't have to come on all of them. I'll give you my plans, my schedule. If there's any places you just want to come and, sightsee, do whatever, just come with me. She's like, okay, yeah, I might run some. I might come on a few. Like, that'd be great, Mom. That'd be good for you.
Mm.
We hung up the phone. 10 minutes later, she called. I'm doing all of them. I'm running all of them with you. I'm going on every single one. So it really didn't take much convincing.
So really, it became
And
a therapy treatment for you and your mom. And then I
exactly,
guess,
and that's what I was
did,
about to say.
did the other family members join the crusade for healing? That's because that's pretty much what it is.
It's exactly what it is. Whenever I made that decision to do it, it was when I was starting over on my own and, naturally just kind of afraid of what the future could hold with so much uncertainty. And then with COVID, and I was furloughed from my job and just trying to figure a way of taking that what could have been a very negative situation and finding the positive of it. I traveled a lot for work, but I was keeping the dog. I wasn't going to be able to do the same type of trips that I was doing. So it really was going to put limitations. And of course, like that type of change to my lifestyle, I wasn't ready for. And so that's why I set this goal. But in no way is a divorce and a death of a spouse the same thing.
Right.
But starting over on our own when we had our life planned out and it didn't work, figuring out how to adapt and move forward on our own, finding that confidence and that independence, that's what we really both needed.
When you did your first run, not your competitive side, but the moment that the divorce is done, your father's still alive, but you're walking out, you make the decision to walk out and you hit that pavement, the streets with those Adidas, Nike, Reeboks. I don't know what you're rolling on. What went through your mind? You're there. You're probably getting up early in the morning to get that first run. What was going through your mind? You just got done with the divorce. Now you got to start all over again. What's going through your mind?
So much because there's sadness and there's anger, that situations happened that they did and life happened the way that it did, but there's also this sense of freedom that it could now be whatever I want it to be. Like there's nothing that's holding me back from any new adventures or finding the positives in a different light. So I'm not going to lie and be like, oh, it was all great. There was many runs that I would go out on, after the divorce or after my father's death that you in your head and you're thinking about all these things and the tears just start coming because there's just so much. And then you have this outlet of running and it really is therapeutic.
Let me ask you a question. What do you think was the most difficult part of getting back on that trail of running? Now you lost your father. The tears are coming. This is a lot to take in, and you're still young. Your family's on one side of the in Texas, right? And you're in Jersey. How do you get back on the wagon with all this? And who was your support group? In Jersey. You're running. Did you have a running club? What kept you together outside of running?
I do not enjoy running with other people. I like putting my AirPods in and really being in my own mind because that's the only time that I can really think clearly and process. but I do have the most amazing group of friends here in New Jersey. We all met through work. We're all now in different departments and doing different things. We don't see each other as often, but those truly have become my family members here in New Jersey that I could call them at any moment. Actually, I did. I got into a small car accident. Car was totaled. I was fine. But I called one of my girlfriends and I was like, hey, what are you doing right now? I'm putting on my shoes. What do you need? Like, there's no hesitation. Those people, the absolutely anything I need, absolutely anything they need, we're there for each other.
What's been the most difficult part of your running? Because I know as a former athlete, a runner, when you're dealing with marathons, you got to have that competitive edge. I don't give a care. If you're running, you're trying to win. A lot of people say, "Well, I'm just going to go run." Some people can do that. I don't see that being you. When you did your first show, your first mini marathon or your first full marathon, what was that like for you? Did you go in with a competitive edge? Did you train to win, or you just train to see if you can actually endure the duration of the run itself?
So it's kind of a mix of both. I go out there to enjoy the experience. If, and I have done this, New York City Marathon, a DJ was playing the Macarena. I stopped and I did the Macarena with this group of people. If there are children on the side of the road holding their hand out for a high five, I will go out of my way to run over there and give those children a high five, hoping that it will one day inspire them to be active in some type of way. But I also do with each race go in with the mindset that I want to do better than I did last time.
Okay.
And it's really crazy because I've been running for almost 20 years now. And at 40 years old, I just broke my personal record last month of for the half marathon. I had goals of breaking my record a couple weeks ago in Italy for the full marathon, but there was so much to see. I wanted to stop and take pictures and videos of everything because being able to run in Venice in Italy, like not many people get that opportunity. And I wanted to be able to capture that and have those memories. And for me, that was more important than breaking a personal record that nobody really cares about.
What's more, which one do you enjoy the most? Running marathons abroad or running marathons in the States? And why?
Ooh, that's really a tough one. I'm not gonna lie. I have enjoyed both so much. There's so much here to see in the United States that I never even dreamed of.
Mm.
To run through the Red Rock Canyons of Moab, Utah, that was breathtaking. Jackson Hole, Wyoming, through the mountains was gorgeous. Like, and I have so many good ones still planned. I'm only halfway through this goal and I still have, 24 more states to go. And looking at that list, I don't even know which one I'm more excited about. But also, different countries, that's not something that many people, even in their lifetime, will get to do. And I'm trying to do 2 full marathons a year in different countries, along with a half marathon in every state every single month.
How do you prepare? I mean, that's in you work. So how do you prepare for this? Because every marathon is different. You got different terrains that you got to deal with, different altitudes that you got to deal with. How do you prepare for these different shows and still be able to do what you do for a living?
It takes a lot of planning. Luckily, my job is very flexible. I can kind of work as much as I want to or as less as I need to deal with the logistics of planning all of these trips.
Hmm.
Um, I mostly work nights, and so sleep schedule is a little bit different, but luckily my apartment complex has a gym that's open 24 hours. So if I'm up and nothing to do, I'll go to the gym at midnight. Nobody's there. So you just have to make it work for you. If you have goals, then nothing's going to stand in your way. You're not going to make excuses. You're going to find a way to make it work for you.
Why 50 consecutive runs? Why 50?
Every state.
But why? I mean, does this include abroad or just in the United States itself?
The United States itself, one half marathon a month in a different state, and that will take 50 months to get all 50 states.
How did you even come up with this idea?
Well, I wanted to see all 50 states, and what better way to do it than to run through them? And in 50 months, because this could take forever if I let it. There's always going to be an excuse like, oh, I'm really busy this month, so I'm not going to do it. And so I'll put it off. And oh, well, there's this going on or this going on. This, you could take 20 years to do that. I don't want to do that. I want to get this accomplished so I can move on to another goal. Like all the US territories, include those in there, as many countries as possible. And then, some ultra marathons.
Yeah, I can't believe that you would take a zero, then all of a sudden you got this energized bunny attitude that you're gonna like go off and run. What have you learned the most with what you've gone through with the loss of your father, your mentor, the patriarch of running for you, and the reason that the whole family's gotten together? Like, what have you learned from all this as it relates to yourself?
That I'm really, like, obviously physically strong and capable, but it's really been a test emotionally and mentally, and surprising how I've overcome and adapted to it. Like, he was the pillar of our family, and that, he was the one that motivated all of us and encouraged all of us. And now I still have that with my mother, of course. My mother, I speak to her every single day, whether we calling on the phone or we're texting all day long, and we're doing these trips together. But I don't know, it's your dad, he was everything. And it took a long time, and to get myself back mentally to even want to start up running again,
Mhm.
it was very difficult. And through our story getting out of my mom and I doing this together, and it was him that motivated all of us to get started with it. The local newspaper for their area in Louisiana heard our story, did a front page story about our family, and mentioned the Austin Marathon, which
Right.
he ran. And the directors from the Austin Marathon reached out to us and said, if we run Austin as our race for Texas, they'll not only waive our fees, they'll make a donation on his behalf for pancreatic cancer research.
Oh my God.
So we are going to finish the 50 states in Austin with the whole family running in his memory. And it just so happened to work out that it would be the 50th.
Wow, that's crazy. Did you ever get the opportunity to actually run with your father any of these races before his passing?
We did a couple of races right before COVID came about, and we're very goal oriented. We had a goal of traveling where we could as a family and running races. And the last one that we did was in Brenham, Texas. Big fans of Bluebell ice cream, and that's where the factory was.
Yeah.
So several of us did the 5K. A few people did the 10K. My dad was actually the only one that did the half marathon. And so we had family members in all the races. It was the same course, same finish line, but you got a medal and ice cream at the finish line. I mean, what's better than that?
Before we wrap up, what's the one thing you remember the most about your father and his legacy?
How he cared so much for others. He was always helping everyone in that little small town that they lived in where I grew up. He had a very big heart. He always did whatever he could for whoever he could, always taking in different people that were in need or giving them a job or just really being an excellent example of a strong, godly man. And that's something that even, a few years after he's passed, whenever I go back to visit and I run into anyone, they always talk about that of just what a loving, godly man he was and how grateful they were to have known him.
What was your father's name? We didn't mention his name not one time.
Gary Gremillion.
Before let me ask this question before we wrap up.
Mhm.
Once again, I can't believe that you got off of the chair in school. I'm gonna bug you with that as long as I can. But what keeps that beast mindset outside of your father? How do you keep going? Because I know you're still human, and I know these things enter in and out of us every single day. The emotional stabilities that happens as humans. But how do you keep that beast mindset, especially when you're getting ready to? I'm not even gonna call it the impossible because I know you're gonna do this 50 races. But how do you keep that beast mindset so strong? And are you the anchor really of your family now?
Um, I definitely wouldn't say that I was the anchor of the family. All of my family is doing their own thing and has their own accomplishments. Absolutely. But I think just what keeps me motivated and keeps me going is I set that goal and there's nothing that's going to stop me from that. And I'm going to continue to grow. I want that. It does give me a great sense of pride. Because I'm not as capable as you as, going to Olympic trials and having those types of accomplishments, just that dedication to me is an accomplishment. The logistics behind it of making sure I'm off of work, I'm booking hotels and car rentals, and I'm finding a dog sitter. Like there's so much that just goes into it before I even get to that starting line. And it does take a lot of time, but I really enjoy it. And I'm seeing the most beautiful places. And that's all very exciting to me. And so that's what's going to keep me going. I'm planning the Great Wall of China marathon in Beijing,
Mhm.
which, in addition to the 26.2 miles,
Right.
you're running the Great Wall of China, and there's 5,164 stairs included in that marathon.
Okay, hold that because I was hoping that would come out on the next question, but since we know that's one of them, you got 50 on the on the to go list. Give me your top five that you want to
Uh,
do.
that I
Other,
want to run.
mhm, that
Okay,
means
so
the most to you.
Great Wall of China, obviously. That's going to be in May. October, I'm planning for Cape Town, South Africa marathon.
Hmm.
I've gotten 4 of the 6 world majors, so I still need Boston and London.
Hmm.
And then they just opened up Sydney as number 7, so I have to get into Sydney. Ideally, for the first one, the drawing opens up soon.
Hmm. You still haven't said what I thought you would say, but I'm gonna keep going. Hopefully, you'll bite pretty soon. Give me you go
Oh,
number
in
8.
Indianapolis.
Okay.
Indianapolis, of course, is on the list.
Okay, great, great, great.
I've
How
got
can
that one scheduled already too for
yeah,
May.
Okay, that's when it happens. Yeah, that's when it happens. So, how can the viewers reach out and support your cause for your dad? Is there some way that if the viewers hear this and they're advocate runners and they want to support you and your cause with your dad, how can they do that?
We really don't have anything specific. We ourselves have worked with Project Purple in the past. We've raised money for charity for them in order to run the New York City marathons, like my mom and I have. If they just want to follow on social media, then definitely please do that. I do kind of a little recap of every single race that I'm doing and a little bit of a behind the scenes and training. It's just a lot of fun. So you can follow along, or definitely Project Purple does a lot for pancreatic cancer research.
Mhm.
The symptoms of pancreatic cancer research really don't come about until it's in stages. And so if we can find a way to discover it sooner so that there's a higher survival rate,
Right.
that would be amazing.
Now, what's your name on social media? You said they can reach out to you on social media because you do updates. Where can they listen to that at or watch it?
So I'm mostly on TikTok. It's my first name underscore followed by my last name.
You know what? Thank you so much for taking the time out to come and share such a great story. Hopefully, you'll let me know when you come in Indianapolis and we can have you sitting right here. And after you do the race, though, not before, after you do the race, that way we can get a full cap on exactly what you did. Okay.
Fantastic. I've been looking forward to it. Thank you so much for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Crayton Show.